I have standards, I swear. The original Donkey Kong arcade game is great, releasing in July 1981 to popularity and basically being the thing that saved Nintendo of America after the company's last arcade game Radar Scoped flopped so hard when it released. Hey!
Oh no, not again.
But even if you don't like Donkey Kong, you have to at the very least appreciate it for what it did for Nintendo. It introduced the world to Donkey Kong, who would go on to have the best 2D platformers of the modern era, Pauline, who would eventually become the mayor of New Donk City, and the mascot that proved to be a big money maker for Nintendo, Jumpman, who would later be addressed as Mario. Earlier this year marked the game's 40th anniversary, which is an impressive milestone for the game. But seeing how Nintendo was too good to acknowledge the game's existence, but not Zelda for whatever reason, we got nothing. No new games, not even a mention on social media saying, hey, original Donkey Kong fans, we care. We did get the arcade version of Donkey Kong released on Switch as one of the Arcade Archives titles, which I don't have. Then there's Donkey Kong Game Boy that Nintendo released on the 3DS Virtual Console a while back. I love Donkey Kong Game Boy because it basically was the arcade version of Donkey Kong except on a Game Boy, but it also expanded into something so much more, a puzzle platformer with an additional 97 levels. It was great. And while Nintendo doesn't exactly re-release Donkey Kong Game Boy as much, they definitely re-released the re-release of the original arcade game. Back in the NES era, arcade games were released on the NES as less good versions of their original NES counterparts. Pac-Man, Mario Bros, even Galaga, and the original Donkey Kong was no exception. This game got a re-release on NES and was actually a surprisingly good version of the game. Pac-Man and the others kinda weren't that great because they looked worse and played a little bit worse, and I would honestly say that while it wouldn't look as good as the original arcade version, it would be close enough. Until Nintendo pulled a Nintendo and kinda ruined it. They removed a few things from this version. That actually makes this one a pretty lame version of Donkey Kong. The intro cutscene of Donkey Kong climbing to the top of the stage, and the screen that says how high can you go, and even one of the levels, the Pie Factory. This level wasn't anything crazy, but was it just so bad that Nintendo had to remove it in its entirety from the NES version? Well, whatever it is, I'm going to talk about the NES version of Donkey Kong on the NES Online app on the Switch, because like I said before, I have standards. Donkey Kong involves a giant rampaging ape named Donkey Kong who kidnaps a lady and takes her across a construction site while an overall-wearing carpenter named Jumpman follows suit and chases after him to save her. In order to slow you down, Donkey Kong will try throwing barrels at you, setting you on fire, and progressing higher and higher once you reach the top of the stage. Mario's movement and physics are a bit stiff here. That probably works way better with a joystick than a D-pad, but it's tolerable, I suppose. And plus, Mario isn't rendered completely helpless either. Sure, he can use his jump to hop over barrels, and he is halfway decent at climbing ladders, let's be honest here. But you'll also find a hammer, which once you obtain it will play a catchy tune for a bit, and will allow you to destroy hammers and fireballs. You can't climb ladders with them though, or jump, but it's okay I suppose. It's not safe to jump with a hammer on a construction site anyways. Mario can also take fall damage. Yes, it wasn't Donkey Kong Game Boy that introduced Mario suffering head injuries. It was the original. So glad we cleared this up. Pauline also left some of her belongings behind. Purse and umbrella, and will give you a load of points, which is the main reason why Donkey Kong is so replayable. Even the NES version, as flawed as it is, it's still kind of fun to rack up points in this version. The arcade version of Donkey Kong features 4 iconic levels, 25 meters, which is a decent first level for an arcade game. Nothing crazy, but it's okay. 50 meters being the Pie Factory with conveyor belts to walk across and pies to dodge. Not sure what's so deadly about pies, but hey, it's Nintendo. Logic doesn't exist in their worlds. 75 meters is just a harder 25 meters, but taller, and platforms that go up and down, and also trampolines that bounce around that you have to dodge if you're at the top. Not bad, a little more challenging, but still not bad. And the final level, which actually isn't really a level where you have to get to the top of the level, rather it involves you disconnecting the girders by walking across these things for them to disappear, and Donkey Kong to plummet to his doom. Kinda feel bad for the guy. And that was the NES version of Donkey Kong on the NES Online app on the Switch. While it's not terrible, it pales so much in comparison to the other versions. The arcade version is great, and the Game Boy version is the definition of pleasure on a screen. But if it wasn't for the NES version removing all the elements that it did, including a full-on level that makes up a good 25% of the game, really makes no sense. It's not a terrible version. It is still Donkey Kong. You can get a decent amount of time out of it, but it's just not the ideal version of play. But if it didn't remove the pie factory, or hell, even kept those other little details intact, this would have been one of the best versions of the game out there. I know this version of the game came out well over 30 years ago, but I'm always going to look at it as a missed opportunity and just think about what could have been.
You know I could hear you, right? Dude, get out of here.
But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing and checking out my other videos on my channel where you'll find more videos like this one. And I'll see you next time.